This was the first off, this was a 0.83. I first saw on red you could do 4 moves into this EG1 case, but that doesn't end up being too great. Then I also looked on white, and I saw that if you do U prime, RU, R prime, you get this case, and you could cancel into one of the Elgs I know, but I know that whenever you can do RU, R prime into that case of EG1, you can either do U2, R, U prime, R prime, and then you would basically be able to cancel into this easy EG1 case. But instead of doing that, what I did was, from here, I saw you could do RU, R prime, and then just, instead of doing U2, RU, R prime, you can just cancel into the Elg by doing U2, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U. This is the second scramble. This cell was a 126. I first looked on white, and I saw that you could either do R prime from here and to get this LS case, or you could do an R and then you get this case, which ends up being better. I also looked on red, but I wasn't finding anything too great, so what I eventually did was I held it here and did R, U2, R prime, F2, R2, U prime, R prime, F. So that probably could have been like the best time, but I just locked up a lot, so it wasn't too great turning. This was the third scramble. This cell was a 0.80. I saw on green that there was a pre-made LS, and it was a pretty easy case, so I really didn't check anything else, and I went straight into the Elg with no UF. This is the fourth scramble. This cell was a 109. I saw that on green you could do 1 move into this pretty easy LS case, and you could just finish with no AUF. But instead of doing that, I also looked on orange and saw that you could do 4 moves into a not very good CLL case, or you could do a different 4 moves and you get another CLL case, but it's still not too great. So then what I ended up going with was on blue. I saw you could do 3 moves into this EG1 case, and then one of the Elgs I know starts with RU prime, R prime, but then the face finished with RU, R prime. So I could basically just do cancel into the Elg R, F, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U, R prime, F prime, U2. This was the fifth scramble. This was a 266. I saw that there was a pre-made LS on green. I also looked on red, and I saw that you could do 1 move into this pretty bad TCLL case. But instead of doing that, I saw that you could do R2U R prime into this CLL. But I know that whenever you can have RU R prime into this angle of this CLL case, then you can hold it at the back and do a sledge and then insert. So basically the full solution from here was just doing R, U2, R prime, F, R, F prime, U2, R, U, R prime, U. But I just locked up, so the time wasn't good.